Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again. We are going to move to the next step after importing your data, which is how to deal with missing values. So just to recap, we had our notes up at the top. We are working on preparing our data. We established a new dataset variable. We told our studio to read this CSV file, and the file name was data.csv. As you may recall, down in the lower right-hand corner is where the files in that folder are located. So you should be able to see your data file down there. Mine is here. If for some reason you do not, then you want to hit the three dots in this corner. That'll allow you to find the folder in which that file exists. Once you select that, we want to make sure we don't forget to set our working directory for that folder. So once we have that completed, we're going to run this code so we can see our data set. And then let's open up our data set and take a little peek at it. You'll see here we have 4 categories across the top: country, age, salary, and purchased. And then we have 10 observations. You'll notice that there are a couple of fields with NA. So for Spain, we are missing age, and then for Germany, we are missing salary. So one thought might be, if you're missing data, then maybe we should just remove this from our data set. But by doing that, we could actually end up with some kind of false results. So we want to leave those fields in there, but a more acceptable approach would be to calculate the average for these columns and then take that average and use that to fill in the missing value. So if we take a look at this Excel file, which is our data set, we can actually, just for starters, and this will help us QC our code, we can calculate the average value for age and the average value for salary. And so what we'll see is that the average age is 38.78, and then the average salary is $63,777.78. So we'll just keep those in our back pocket for QCing a little bit later. So now that we get an understanding of what our data looks like, let's move forward with actually writing the code for taking those missing values and replacing them with the calculated average. So we need to tell our studio what data we want to work with. So we're going to start with a new variable, and we're going to call this one data set, and we're going to identify the age column. That's the one we want to work with. And then we're going to add an if-else statement, and we're going to say, basically, when there's an NA in this column, we want to calculate the average or the mean. So we're going to use an internal function to calculate the mean. Then, just so you can read my code, I'll hit a return there. We'll come here and we will add mean. And then this section, what we don't want to have happen is for R to replace all of our values with the average, because we do have values there. We only want it to replace in a situation where there's an NA. So that's what this section of the code means here. So we want to take one last look over our code before hitting enter. Make sure we've got all the necessary capital letters. We've added our end quotes or end parentheses. And I think this looks good. So we're going to hit run. And we didn't have any errors, so that is a positive. So we're going to go back over here. Take another look at our data set. So if we recall, it was Spain age that was missing. So R has replace the NA with 38.7778, and that corresponds to the value that we calculated in Excel. So everything looks good there. Now, we're going to do the same thing for the salary, and for time's sake, I'm going to copy this code. Always remembering that when you do a cut and paste, you really need to make sure that you double check your code, that you've updated all the necessary spots, otherwise you will end up with an error. So I'm going to take another look. Looks like all of the spots where I had age now has salary. So I'm going to hit run a second time and go back to our data set and take a look at Germany salary. So here the NA has been replaced with 63,777.78 cents, which corresponds back to the value that we calculated in our Excel file. So everything looks good there. We have completed the task of replacing these missing values. The next step is going to be encoding our categorical variables. The computer can't understand text the way that we do, so we need to change those words into numbers. So that will be in the next step. I hope to see you then. Thank you.